This video contains massive spoilers for up to and including Arc 9 of the ReZero light novels, which at this point are very far ahead of the anime, so watch this at your own risk. When I finished the anime and started reading the books, I never would have guessed the narrative would revolve so heavily around this guy. Yeah, this guy. Our first introduction to Al, the Knight of Priscilla Boreal, doesn't give us any indication that he's central to the key mysteries of the series. On first watch, he seems like a pretty down-to-earth, stand-up guy. There is a strange moment where his full name, Aldebaran, is used by Priscilla, and he acts uncharacteristically bothered by it. But hey, given all the other insane things that happened in that arc, it probably slipped your mind by the time the season was over. It did for me. However, those that read the light novels instead know that a scene was omitted, one where Al explains that, like Subaru, he too was summoned here from Japan. As the series progresses, Al starts saying more and more suspicious stuff about witches, authorities, and even Subaru himself. In the novels, Al is fully a main character by the 7th and 8th arcs, which really flesh out his relationship with Subaru and elaborate on the mysterious authority he has, one which bears a strong resemblance to Subaru's return by death, but can only be activated within domains he sets himself. In Arc 9, Aldebaran goes from friend to foe, kidnapping Subaru with the intention of removing him from this world. After a series of intense battles, he's finally pushed to his limit. He calls out to the Archbishop of Gluttony with his true name, Natsuki Rigel, meaning Aldebaran is most likely, somehow, the son of Natsuki Subaru. Holy sh*. Unlike my previous videos, this is the first one I'm making that cover the light novels as opposed to the anime. That means there's a lot of people watching who may not have read it, so I'll be doing a little bit more recapping than I normally do, just so that no one gets lost in the weeds. Additionally, Arc 9 didn't provide all the concrete answers I expected it to, so the familial connection between Al and Subaru still hasn't been explicitly confirmed. But I'll be going with him being Subaru's son because it's so heavily implied, and I'll get into the reason why thematically I really think this is the case. After watching this video, I feel like you're going to walk away with the same conclusion. With that out of the way, let's get started. The story of Aldebaran begins 400 years ago, in the time of witches and dragons. As the sage Flugel's party worked to deal with the Witch of Envy, Echidna developed a strategy of her own. All signs point to Flugel, through currently unknown means, being Natsuki Subaru. As the son of Subaru, Natsuki Rigel was able to use the authority of return by death without acquiring a witch factor the way other authority users have to. It was naturally passed down to him. This meant Echidna could meld him into the perfect weapon, a replacement for Flugel. This new entity was given a new name, Aldebaran, the Following Star, a fitting title for one meant to follow the path of Subaru. Echidna put Aldebaran through trial after trial, killing him over and over again until he was finally ready to face the reason he was created, to kill the Witch of Envy. She motivated him with a simple declaration: "No one can defeat you as I created you." But Aldebaran failed to live up to Echidna's expectations and was defeated. Unable to strike Satella down and losing his arm to her shadows, he found his life saved in the nick of time by Echidna, who did so at the expense of her own. Back in the Castle of Dreams, Echidna lamented this loss, but told him there was still work to be done. She cast an Ol Shamak spell, sealing Aldebaran away until he was awoken 400 years later on Ginnenhive, the Sword Slave Island. Al fought in constant death matches under the crushing weight of his past failure. One day, a crisis on the island was resolved by the visiting Priscilla, a young girl who seemed to have fate wrapped around her finger. For Al, who believes himself to be an enemy of fate, she was inspiring. After escaping the island, Al searched this new world for answers, even facing off against the Sin Archbishop of Sloth in several loops. But instead of falling back on Echidna's plan, he developed a new strategy: ascend Priscilla to the throne, stopping Amelia from becoming queen, and in return, preventing the eventual creation of the Witch of Envy. But Subaru let Priscilla die. Following her death, Aldebaran made plans to do what he always knew he'd have to: remove Subaru from the face of the world, stopping the witch's creation and saving the world from destruction. By doing so, Aldebaran says, he can finally be himself. That's a lot. So let me unpack why I think what we've learned in this bombshell reveal is actually a very fitting direction for the series, even with so much left unexplained. One of ReZero's most beloved episodes is Season 2's Parent and Child, an episode all about the burden of expectations. Subaru's father, Kenichi, is a successful and well-liked member of their community. Those are big shoes for Subaru to fill. He finds himself haunted by a phrase: "You're definitely his kid." Throughout the episode, Subaru grapples with living under his father's shadow, until realizing that his friends in Lagunica like him not because he's the son of Natsuki Kenichi, a person they don't even know, but because he's Natsuki Subaru, his own person. He can finally be himself. We see time and time again through multiple characters that expectations, whether assigned by others or self-imposed, can be destructive. Aldebaran is the ultimate victim of expectations, something we get a glimpse of as far back as Arc 5, when Al warns Subaru against the dangers of failing to live up to one's heroic delusions, as he calls them. With this in mind, it's easy to see why Al found his place with Priscilla. In Echidna's presence, he was expected to be an unstoppable hero. In Priscilla's presence, he was merely a jester. Everyone starts at zero with Priscilla, and their actions are what earn her respect. She may be entitled and horribly demeaning, but in all fairness, she's not thrusting high expectations on people. That attitude was comforting for a guy like Al. His insecurities run so deep, even his authority is afflicted. When his confidence falters, a glitch occurs and his domain shifts to someone else. His self-doubt is so crippling it manages to manifest into his power. Al also relies on his authority to make all his important decisions. When he's prevented from using his authority by Ferris, he ends up completely paralyzed by choice. Al is just like what Subaru would have been if he accepted Echidna's contract in Arc 4, back when he was entirely reliant on return by death and riddled with insecurity. What makes Aldebaran unique is that he isn't just crushed by the expectations of being a hero, but the expectation of living up to Subaru specifically. "No one can defeat you as I created you" is to Al what "you're definitely his kid" is to Subaru. This is why this father-son twist really works. Aldebaran's goal of removing Subaru from the world so that he can finally be himself is rooted in the exact same struggle Subaru had with living up to his own father. Like father, like son. Except in Al's case, he was actually forged to be a replacement for his father, literalizing that anxiety that Subaru dealt with. Now sure, it could turn out to be cloning or dream magic or some other third thing, but having it be as simple as Subaru's son has incredibly rich storytelling potential because of this. Subaru's journey throughout ReZero has been about him becoming a better man, and for a long time now, I've expected that fatherhood would be a part of that. In the very first episode, he makes a joke to Amelia about them looking like a family. If you've watched my other video, you know how important this first arc is at subtly setting things up for the rest of the series. There's also the consistent portrayal of Subaru being good around children, whether that's becoming a role model for the village kids, essentially adopting Beatrice, or even directly asking Meili to be his daughter in Arc 6. Also important to mention that there's a lot of terrible fathers in the series as well. Wilhelm's misplaced anger caused a rift in his family that he still hasn't mended a decade later. Heinkel became a petty drunkard, leveraging his son Reinhard's status to keep him in a position of power. Rowan was so insanely dedicated to reaching the Heavenly Sword that... Actually, there's so much baggage there, I don't even know where to start, but his parenting resulted in the equally insane Cecilis. In retrospect, Al being stuck with Heinkel and Rowan throughout Arc 8 seems especially deliberate now. Bad fathers seem to be the albatross around his neck. If past/future Subaru really was Al's father, as we're led to believe, and he failed, the Subaru we're following now will grow so he doesn't make the same mistakes. After all, he has a lot of examples to learn from. Motherhood can easily become a thematic focus in this story too, but we don't have any clear indication on who Al's mother might be at this time. He has strange connections with both Rem and Amelia. In the non-canon Sloth If story, Subaru starts a family with Rem and names his son Rigel. While many see this as definitive proof that Rem is Al's mother, I'm still not convinced. I'm leaning towards Amelia being his mother in some shape or form. Al frequently mentions being ignored by Satella, and he says very similar things about feeling ignored by Amelia. The narration tells us he hesitated on how to refer to her in a way that pertained to their true relationship. It also checks out with a future line from Amelia's third trial, where Al laments not being able to kill someone, and wanting to keep that person for himself for eternity. If he's referring to Satella, who we already know he failed to kill, it sounds to me like a child desperate for his mother's love and attention. If I had to take a shot on what happened, here's what I'd wager. Subaru became an absent father because he was hyper-focused on trying to save Amelia, even possibly dying as a result, dying for real, neglecting Rigel in the process. Born in the midst of the conflict, Rigel never truly got to know his father nor his mother. But then again, he has neither Oni nor Elven traits. So, I don't know, maybe Shala got lucky. Wait, can you get a witch beast pregnant? That's all to say, the story shifting further into themes around parenthood is a more than sensible direction. From here on out, it all depends on its execution, because a successful twist should change the trajectory of a story. The fact that Arc 9 ends with Subaru dying and the entire arc getting reset is very frustrating, since it means Subaru is completely unaware of their familial connection. It won't shape his motivation because he never heard Al call himself Natsuki Rigel, and he never got a glimpse at his backstory like we have. The arc does end with him vowing to save Aldebaran and to stop being ignorant of his place in the world, so at some point he is going to uncover the truth. I just think the emotional momentum can easily be derailed by putting it on ice like this. I want this father-son revelation to matter. I want it to influence Subaru and his goals from this point on, and to reframe Aldebaran's role in the story. Because if ReZero actually commits to exploring what this twist means, it has the potential to reach the emotional heights of parent and child all over again. I realize that, even after everything I've said, many of you are still skeptical. So let me go beyond the themes here and address some counterpoints. Counterpoint 1. Al said he's from Japan and he knows too much about Subaru's life. He must be a clone. The beginning of the arc makes it clear that books of the dead can be used to overwrite the personalities of the reader. Considering Echidna's whole deal is that she never perfected cloning, using the Book of the Dead for that purpose seems like a pretty solid alternative. There's even a line that implies that Al read it, with him noting that there's a precedent for reading the Natsuki Namicon without having your mind broken, which he knows all too well. Also, if Echidna cloned Subaru, why would she name him Rigel and then rename him Aldebaran later? She would just call him Aldebaran from the beginning. His narration specifically says his parents named him Rigel, not Echidna. Later, he says Subaru is the one to give star names, and Rigel is, of course, a star name. Counterpoint 2. If Al removes his father from the world, then he wouldn't be born. It's a paradox. On multiple occasions, the story has provided cryptic lines about perpetual time loops and cycles, like this one about beginnings and endings over and over again. Whatever the time travel mechanics are, they don't follow Back to the Future rules. There's something else at play here beyond regular time travel shenanigans. Counterpoint 3. Al was attracted to Subaru when he was dressed as a girl. Wouldn't that be really weird then? Yeah, Al is a little freak, huh? That's about as far as I can go into Natsuki Rigel, aka Aldebaran, for now. There's still so much we don't know, but maybe once we do learn more, I can return to this and make a follow-up. I hope you enjoyed my first video covering the light novels. I'll get back to doing my arc-by-arc analysis videos, but if you have any other suggestions, be sure to let me know below. Feel free to press that like button too, it definitely helps me. Please keep anything on this topic or anything spoiler related in general in the comments section here and not on the other videos. I don't want anybody to have this spoiled for them because it was a pretty awesome and fun reveal, so don't be that person. Keep your chin up. Later, brother.